We do also now want to turn to a breaking news story we're following in this country. Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced plans to renovate 24 Sussex Drive. The official residence of Canada's political leader has been vacant for more than a decade after falling into an unlivable state. Now there will be a national fundraiser and design competition to breathe new life into the heritage property. The Prime Minister spoke about the importance of revitalizing the residence.
I may not look like it, but my kids are already grown. And I will never, in any event, live in 24 Sussex Drive. But future Prime Ministers will undoubtedly need to raise their children here as they lead our country. So we'll restore it so they may do so safely and securely. In the end, I and all public officials are stewards of the offices we hold. We don't own them. We serve them to serve Canadians. And we have a responsibility to leave things better than we found them.
And the CBC's Janice McGregor is following the story for us. She joins us now from Ottawa. So Janice, what else did the Prime Minister have to say about tackling this project?
Indeed. Sooner or later, someone was going to have to do something about this house. Mark Carney laying out today how his vision of building Canada strong includes making sure that the heritage symbols of Canada's democratic institutions aren't crumbling. And so we have this kind of two-part process to set things right. First, a design competition. This is an idea that was originally proposed by the Royal Architectural Institute of Canada. Going back over a decade now, their expertise, their experience in overseeing design competitions like this, now going to be tapped by the government as part of a process of ensuring that kind of the best and the brightest minds are put to this task of reimagining what a prime ministerial residence in these modern times should look like. A 7-member jury has been named today to make some choices once all the designs come in. It will be chaired by Moshe Safdie, a very well-known name in Canadian architecture. He told reporters today he thinks this site, sort of overlooking the Ottawa River on the cliff, is extraordinary, has extraordinary potential, he said. But in so doing, even as they haven't kind of set the parameters for this competition yet, we did get some hints today. First, it appears they have ruled out the idea of moving the location for the Prime Minister's residence to another site. They're very much referring to this as the future of 24 Sussex Drive, that particular lot. They talked about the value of it, preserving its heritage. That would also suggest they're not going to completely bulldoze everything. The Prime Minister making a point of thanking the National Capital Commission for its work, stripping it down to the studs and preserving the option of at least using some or all of the heritage home. But they also talked about it needing to be a working venue for the Prime Minister, needing to incorporate principles of sustainability, Canadian content. And Mark Carney said they have interrogated the issues of what kind of security will be required in the future. Of course, very different from when this house was first built. And part of the competition is going to be ensuring value for money. The government will pay for the security costs on site. But as for the rest of the cost of building it, well, here's where you get into the second aspect that was announced today, a new fundraising push overseen by the Rita Hall Foundation that will, in Carney's words, give Canadians a chance to get involved in this. And at a time when sort of there is a real push on for people to exert their own sovereignty and express themselves. Here's more from the Prime Minister.
This is a common theme across the country in recent years, certainly the time I've been Prime Minister, is Canadians want to participate in various ways. It can be choosing a wine from, Okanagan over one from California. It's vacationing in Prince Edward Island or the Gaspé instead of going to Florida. Right. We have the means to do it. This is a way to have the participation. Yes, it helps defray costs. I want to emphasize that the process also itself provides a discipline to it.
We didn't get any details today about exactly how this fundraising push is going to work. If you wanted to donate, we don't know yet exactly how you could, but we know that the Prime Minister is quite intimate with the workings of the Rita Hall Foundation, used to sit on its board actually, prior to getting involved in politics. A lot about this, very much designed to stir up patriotism in ordinary Canadians, even the date by which they're hoping to have come up with a winning design. They're aiming to do that within the year, so it's ready for announcing on Canada Day of 2027.
Now, of course, Janice, there's also some concerns when we talk about those fundraising efforts. How did the Prime Minister say this campaign would steer clear of ethical concerns?
Yeah, indeed, because as soon as you are introducing private donors, right, people start to wonder whether this is vulnerable to people trying to get access with their money. Carney said today that the list of donors would be transparent, that they would not allow corporate donations, that there'd be a limit on how much of the total that an individual would be allowed to give. He was also asked about foreign interference. He didn't specifically rule out that donations would have to come from Canada, but he was explicit that donors would not be able to have influence over the decision of what was built or how this site was used. David McLaughlin was a staffer for former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. He was reflecting earlier on CBC News Network about how it's really important to try to depoliticize this as much as you can.
I do think it's meaningful that all former prime ministers, Conservative and Liberal, have said this is something that matters for the country and I'm behind the project. I will actually actively support it, try to raise some money, and the Prime Minister and allow the Prime Minister, Mr. Carney, to to note their names in that. So to that extent, it is as bipartisan and non-political as you can get in the Canadian context.
In the past, Liberal donors built a pool at this site for Pierre Trudeau. Conservative donors fixed it up for the Mulroney family in the 80s. But with this push, they really seem to be trying to take some politics out of it, making sure that whatever happens, the people who are in office now can't be accused of being self-interested.
Janice, thank you for this. That's the CBC's Janice McGregor in Ottawa.